So the probate process is generally required when an asset is owned by a decedent. Decedent just means a deceased person. And the reason for that is right now, if you own something, you can sign title over to whoever it is you want to transfer that title to. But if that title owner is deceased, they can't reach up from the grave and sign that title over anymore. The property then is still owned by someone, but there's a giant legal question mark as to who that someone is. And the probate process fills in that blank, fills in that question mark for us so that now we all know who that owner is. And by we all, I mean the world. And the reason that becomes important is, especially with real estate or especially with a valuable asset like an automobile, it becomes important because banks want to lend money for people to buy those assets. They want to make sure that they know who the right seller is. They want to make sure that the seller has the legal right to sell all of the asset. And they want to especially make sure if they're lending money that their security interest, that mortgage that they have on that property, that deed of trust is a valid deed of trust and gives them rights to repossess it if payments aren't made. And so lawyers in giving title opinions want to make sure that their opinion is accurate. Title insurance companies want to make sure that they're insuring a good title so that they don't have to pay out. And so for all of these reasons, it becomes really important to have this probate process in effect so that we all know, we collectively know who the owners of property are when the record owner of that property no longer exists, that they are deceased. There's another purpose for probate as well, and that is not only the ability of changing title to it, but also to make sure that creditor claims are protected, the creditors of a deceased person in particular. So if a deceased person owes money to someone, it's not really fair to take that deceased person's assets, distribute them out to the heirs, and leaving the person that they owe money to sitting back saying, well, wait a minute, who do I collect my money from? Well, we distributed the money to their 5 children. And so you've got to go to these 5 children now to collect those assets. It's not fair to that person because they only loan money to the one person that's now deceased. It's also not fair to the 5 people because 4 of them spent their money. And now they got someone coming to them saying, oh no, some of this money comes back to me. And so rather than face that, we have this orderly process of the probate process where claims are probated against the estate. They're determined to be valid or invalid. And before anyone else gets any of the assets of the estate, we first make sure those creditor claims, those valid creditor claims, are